it is. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to all of you joining me live on Zoom and on our I'm also live streaming into my Facebook group, Mindset, Habits and Motivation. So massive thank you to you all for joining me live. I'll give it a couple of minutes, just let people come on. You will need a notepad because there is an activity we're going to do shortly after the video finishes on the 30 causes of failure. So you need a notepad and a pen, so go fetch now if you don't have. Also a beverage of choice. This is just lemon water, just for anyone else, but it is like 7:30 here. And I also have my snacks, so I have Maltesers and minstrels. So we are all good to go. So like I said, I'm going to give it a couple of minutes just to let people jump on either way, because I did have a couple of messages saying that people were going to be a smidgen late, it being the time of day that it is. So yeah, I am watching the Facebook chat. Obviously there is the chat on Zoom as well. Hopefully the video will stream nicely this evening. Last time I tried a live stream event, it took me a little while to work out the sound settings, so I've got that done in advance today. But yeah, welcome to all of you on the chat. It's so nice to see everybody say hello. We're good. So yeah. There, no, not that there, that bit there.
Sorry, I don't know that one.
I might go in and plug her in a minute. Oh, it's just being really slow. That's all right. Okay, cool. Now we know. Move that out of the way. Cool. So if everyone is good to go, we will start. So welcome. This is a free, it's going to go for about 2 hours, how to think and grow rich masterclass with moi. I am Jay Cordery. I am in the UK, and I'll do a little bit of further introduction to me in a second. And also I have special permission to play a video recorded in 2018 by the man you can see on the screen, legendary Bob Proctor. May he rest in peace. So welcome. We are here this evening. Come on, screen change. It's being really slow tonight. Maybe if I exit out of the and go to the next one. There we go. We'll try it that way. Not as big, but my computer's obviously on a go slow tonight. So today we are going to have a quick welcome. Why are we here? An introduction to me, because I always like to know who I'm listening to. So because that is the way I work, I like to think the same of everybody else, really. We're then going to go into the video from Bob himself and his insights on the legendary book, Think and Grow Rich. This is my copy of it. I haven't labeled it much at the moment. It needs more labels. My video is always good fun, so I will stop that for a second and restart it. Don't know why it does that, but hey. After the video finishes, we are going to go through the 30 major causes of failure that Napoleon Hill discussed in this book, as well as the 13 principles of success, how it all applies to you, and we will then have time at the end for a quick Q&A, and then I have a special offer for you. So if you cannot stick around for the full 2 hours, absolutely not a problem. This is being recorded through Zoom. It's also live streaming into the Facebook group. So it will be saved into that Facebook group as well. Everyone registered on Zoom will receive the recording. Okay, and anyone who else wants it, please let me know, and I will get it up onto my YouTube channel probably tomorrow now, because by the time we finish, it will be bedtime. Okay, so welcome. Thank you for joining me, as I said, and we are here to discuss the content of this book. So you are here because you are somebody who thinks there should be more to what we have and what we're told that we can have. Sorry, I looked down at the chat and it completely threw me off. But hey, I'm honest. So yeah, so we feel like there's something, there should be something more than what we have, more than what we're told that we can have. And this book for me unlocked all of that. Okay, every single thing that you could ever want or ever need is already here. You already have it, and it's all within you. Okay, so this book was originally published in the 1930s. If you have not heard of this, it's by an author called Napoleon Hill, and he was commissioned by Andrew Carnegie in the early 1900s. And Andrew Carnegie was the wealthiest man in the world at the time. He was a owner of a steel company, and he commissioned Napoleon Hill, who was a very broke writer at the time, a journalist, to go and interview 500 of the most successful men in the country. Now, don't take that the wrong way. Obviously, this is the early 1900s, so there were no successful women. Us poor females were stay at home, look after the kids. The world was a very different place. But the stuff that he came out with is relevant to male and female alike, and everyone who is on the planet today. So names of people that he interviewed, if I flick to the right little tab that I marked earlier, included people such as Henry Ford, owner of Ford Motors, or the founder of Ford Motors, Charles Schwab, another massive businessman at the time, Theodore Roosevelt, president, where's his name gone? Dr. Alexander Graham Bell, so the inventor of the telephone. He's got things like Thomas Edison, and another name that I've heard of would be, where's it gone? There is another one I'd heard of. F.W. Woolworth, okay, found big chain stores back in the day. Okay, so there were 500 names of people that he interviewed, and across those 500 names, he discovered that there were 13 principles or characteristics that were held by all of those people that led to their success. From his research, he also discovered 30 major causes of failure. And we're going to go through both of those after the introductory or the video with Bob Proctor himself. But first things first, who am I? Why are you here? Why are you listening to me ramble on? Well, for starters, I'm super grateful that you are. I'm so glad to have you here. Loving all the love that's coming through the chat on Facebook. It's brilliant. So this is me. I was back in 2006. I was doing a degree down in Plymouth in Devon on geography and geology. So I started my career over there. I moved on to working on landfills in 2008-9 when I graduated, and I was the environmental technician. So here I am taking gas readings of the landfill gas, which the pipes show that we then took it away to an engine to be burnt, biogas, instead of venting it off into the air or anything like that. So it was my job to make sure that the landfills were environmentally friendly, or as environmentally friendly as they could be, and all within guidelines. I was an active member of the Army Reserve, so not full-time military, but I was as part of the Territorial Army. My hobby within that, and I did the Army Cadets for years before that, was shooting. I absolutely love to shoot. Not moving targets, not living targets. I like shooting cardboard and wood from anything up to 1,000 yards. Okay, so absolutely loved doing all of that. I met my wonderful husband. This is where he proposed to me, at the top of Warwick Castle. So always a lovely photo to share. We have a wonderful, currently 7-year-old little girl. I very rarely share her name. She's always referred to as Bean. This was taken Christmas just gone at the Plymouth light switch on, which was really good fun. Since having her, I left the landfill, the landfill trade or environmental trade, because I didn't want to put her in childcare for hours and hours a day and get to spend no time with her and basically give my whole wages to somebody else. That kind of defeated the object. So I retrained when she was born as a childminder, and then I went into teaching. So this picture was taken on my teacher training, and the things that you can see in front, we were doing Romans, and they were focusing on Pompeii, geologist. So I went to the university and I said, can I borrow some lava bombs, please? And they gave me quite a selection, and the kids absolutely loved it. I currently do the odd little bit of teaching still. I'm a substitute supply working across primary and secondary, which is awesome because I still get to work with the kids. We like to travel. So this was us in India in 2017. We were super lucky to be able to go and meet these two gorgeous elephants who are very well looked after, which was brilliant to see. So we like to be on the water. We live down in Devon on the south coast of England. We like to go out on our kayak. We had a jet ski for a little while as well. That was great fun. Or just walking in nature, being around all the nature in the sea is just my happy place. I like to dive. I think I should have just been born a fish. Would have been much easier. We love to scuba dive, and I'm so excited for this summer because Litlin will be 8 and she can start to learn to snorkel and scuba dive. So we will be starting that. That would be so much fun. And then when I'm not in the water or out and about, I like to be creative. So this is my sewing station. So I like to make my own clothes. I also like to crochet, to draw, all the creative arts. That's just me in a nutshell. So thank you for listening. Without further ado, because I do want to get this within the 2 hours, and I do want time for Q&A at the end. So we are going to jump straight into the insights from Bob Proctor. Now, as I said, this video, it goes for about 55 minutes. I will check the sound and check that it's working before I shut up myself and turn my video off, so that you can focus fully on it. As I said at the beginning, you might want a notepad because there are some really, really helpful pieces of information in this. It was recorded in 2018 where Bob was doing a live stream, hence the creative. It was a live stream event to consultants and clients alike for the Proctor Gallagher Institute. And we as consultants are allowed to share it on occasion. We're not allowed to leave it like running for everyone to see at any time. So this is your opportunity to see it tonight. So let's just get the video up. I'm just going to turn the sound up on my phone a smidgen. Press play. It's a short introduction at the beginning, so we've got.
Good morning, welcome. We're here live in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. A very special event. I want to welcome all of you.
Thumbs up in the chat.
They're excited. I want to welcome you wherever you are, on your phone, your computer, at home. Welcome to an amazing event. And this person that I'm going to introduce needs no introduction. He's known all over the world, wherever he goes. You'll know him from the hit movie The Secret. He's considered the leader in personal development, human growth. He's worked with individuals and companies and leaders all around the world. And today he's going to teach you how to think and grow rich. Let's welcome Bob Proctor.
Good afternoon. Greetings. Thank you. Wherever you are, morning, afternoon, evening, I want to welcome you. This presentation is on behalf of the consultants that are part of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. So if you're watching this, wherever you're watching it from, the odds are pretty good you've been invited by one of our consultants. We have one of the most phenomenal group of people that you're ever going to find anywhere. They're very dedicated, that work as consultants with our company, the Proctor Gallagher Institute. We have around 1,500 consultants in 77 different countries. And that isn't an accident. It's the way it's designed, and we are working at expanding on this all the time. Many years ago, I took a pen, and I sat down, and I said, I'm going to build a company that operates all over the world. And that's essentially what we're doing. Now, what I'm going to talk to you about today is your results. I want you to think about the results that you're getting in various aspects of your life. Could be your income. It might be your personal relationships. It might be the development of your corporation. You could have a large corporation, maybe a small, and you might be a one-person operation. But you get results. I learned a long time ago that results always tell the truth. You can never escape from them. The results always tell the truth. Now, if we are on the right track, it's of my opinion anyway, that our results should always be under construction. We always want to be shooting for something a little bit beyond where we're at, because that is how we grow. And growth is the name of the game. There's a very basic law of life, a dynamic law. It's create or disintegrate. If we're not getting better, we're going in the opposite direction. And I don't think any of us go there directly, intelligently, because we choose to. I think we go backwards every now and then because we make some errors. So growth is it's a very important part of our life, and it's something that we should all be involved in all the time. I've been working at this for a long, long time. And I found if we're going to grow, we're going to have to change. And if we don't change, we're not going to grow. Okay? Now, the Proctor Gallagher Institute is involved in change. That's really what we're all about. That's what our consultants are about. We have programs that are designed to help you improve the quality of your life. Now, the beautiful truth is that you and I can actually create our own income, create our own economy. Now, there's not a lot of people that believe that, and I certainly didn't for a long, long time. Do you know, we get inundated with newspapers, with television, with radio, and just overhearing conversations, maybe in a restaurant or with someone that we work with. How difficult it is to manage in the economy that we're working in. And we're always talking about the Dow or what New York Stock Exchange is doing. We're looking at something outside of ourselves all the time. The truth is, it operates inside of ourselves. Do you know that in the very worst economy, there's people that are winning and winning in a very big way? And in the very best economy, there's people that are losing. They just don't seem to be able to make it happen. So, you know, if you study this objectively, it doesn't matter whether the economy is good or bad. What makes the difference is, where is your mind at? What are you doing? Where are you going? You know, for the first 26 years of my life, I was going in the wrong direction, and I was picking up speed. The idea that I could create my own economy was a very far-fetched concept. Now, a man did tell me that, but I never believed it. In fact, I didn't believe hardly anything that I heard when it came to improving the quality of my life. I was losing. I was hanging around people that were losing. And that was the conversation of the day, and that's pretty well where my head was at. And then one day it changed. And it didn't change by accident. It changed by design. It changed by someone who's probably very much like the consultant that you're talking to. It changed because someone sat down with me and they wrote an R on a sheet of paper. Then he said, Bob, let that R represent the results you're getting in your life. Now, my results were not under construction, although they should have been. And then he put 3 letters down beside it. He said, let that represent happiness, health, and wealth. And he asked me if I thought he was a happy guy. And I looked at him, and I didn't know him real well. And I said, yeah, he seemed pretty happy to me. He said, have you ever seen me when I was sick? I had to admit I hadn't. He said, did you ever see me when I was broke? This man always had a lot of money in his pocket. And that caught my attention more than anything, because I never had any. And he said, Bob, you are about one of the unhappiest guys I've ever met. He was being very honest. I was unhappy. And he said, you're not the healthiest guy in town. You always seem to have a headache or a cold or something. And he said, you're always broke. And that's true. That's exactly how my day went. And I was earning $4,000 a year at the time, and I owed $6,000. Now, I'm going back to 1961. This is not yesterday. It was quite a long time ago. But if you're earning $4,000 and you owe $6,000, it's fairly obvious I would have taken every cent I earned for 18 months just to break even if I'd paid nothing but paid debts. You see, it was an impossible situation. And I have found over the years that that's pretty well the way a lot of people are looking at life. They're in an impossible situation. They just cannot see how they're going to get out of it, because they have a tendency to look at where they're at physically, and they never ask themselves about the power that they have locked up within them. I certainly didn't. I was no exception. And he said, Bob, do you enjoy those results? Well, of course I didn't enjoy them. I mean, I thought it was sort of a dumb question. He said, well, do you ever think of changing your results? And to tell you the truth, I don't think it ever did enter my mind. With me, it was always just get by. See, I was actually living a day at a time, and although it wasn't planned, that's just the way it was. When I woke up in the morning, it was get through the day, because I owed everyone I talked to money. I was not a happy person, and I was hanging around with a group of people who were much like myself. We have a tendency to attract people to us that are much like we are. And that was a sad situation. Then he said to me, he said, Bob, do you ever read anything? Now, I said, no, I can't read. Now, that wasn't true. I could, but I didn't. I didn't even read comic books. And he showed me a book. And he said, Bob, this book was written by a man that was mentored by the wealthiest man in the world at that time. The book is Think and Grow Rich. It's by Napoleon Hill. Now, this book is falling apart. He gave me this book. That was in 1961. That was a long time ago. He said, if you will read this every day, he said, the man spent his whole life writing it. He said, I think it would be a prudent move on your part if you spent the rest of your life reading it. It's called Think and Grow Rich. Now, I thought the title was sort of comical. Think and Grow Rich. You see, I didn't know anybody that was rich, in my opinion. I've since wrote a book called You Were Born Rich, and we're all born rich. Most people are just a little short of money. But he said, if you read this every day. Now, I'm going to tell you the truth. I had never read a book in my life. I could read, but not well. I since found out that most people don't read very well. Most people read at about a grade 7 level, and that's because we learn to read by the time we're in grade 6, and we never improve upon the skill from that point on. And he said, do exactly what I tell you. Now, you know, he didn't tell me what to eat or what time to go to bed, but I had never done what I was told. I spent a number of years in the Canadian Navy, and I was punished many times because I wouldn't do what I was told. I don't know. I seemed to resent authority. I was going in the wrong direction, and I just rejected any kind of advice I got. For some strange reason, I started to listen to this man. His name was Raymond Douglas Stanford. In fact, I have a son, Raymond Douglas Proctor. I named him after this man. And I don't know why, but I decided I would read the book, and I would do what he told me. Now, I had many doubts in my mind as to whether I would stick with it, but that was the thought at the time. Now, my life started to change like night and day. Within a year, my income had gone from $4,000 and in debt $6,000. It went to a point where I was earning $175,000 a year. Now, I hadn't earned $175,000 in the year, but my income went to $14,000 and change a month. If you annualize that, that's $175 a year. So it went from $4,000 to $175,000. If somebody had told me I could do that, I would have never believed him. In less than 5 years, my income went over $1 million. And I'm going to be honest, I had no idea what I was doing. Now, somebody say, well, what were you doing? I was actually cleaning offices. You see, when I first set the goal, it was to straighten out my finances. It was to earn some money. I set a goal of earning $25,000. Now, I really didn't even know anyone with $25,000. But he said, the book told me, and he told me, he said, write what you want on a card and carry it with you. And so I started to think of earning money. And I have since explained to many people, if your goal is to get out of debt, you'll probably stay in debt forever. That is not a good goal. You're going to track whatever you think about all the time. You got to get rid of the debt, set up an automatic debt repayment program, then focus on prosperity. At any rate, someone said there's good money cleaning floors. I said, I'm not proud I'll clean floors. So I started to clean one office. I get $15 a time to wash the floor, and I washed it twice a month. Pretty soon I got another office at $65 a month. Now I'm up to $95. Now keep in mind I was only earning $4,000 a year. That's $100 a week. And I'm up to $100 a month extra money. It was quite a bit. And then it went up and up and up. Now, I was living in England. I was cleaning offices. I had offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. The business grew very, very fast. I was doing exactly what this book told me and doing exactly what this man suggested. And one day I sat down and I thought, how did this happen? You see, I had no formal education. I had 2 months high school. I had no business experience. I had a horrendous work record. And all of a sudden, bang, like this, all this success. And I was living in England. I went over and opened a company there. And I didn't really know why I was winning. Now, the thought came to my mind that I was lucky, but I knew that wasn't the truth because I really don't believe in luck. Voltaire said we invented that word to express the known effects of unknown causes. So I knew I wasn't lucky. I was raised with the idea, if you're going to earn a lot of money, you've got to be really smart. Well, $1 million to me at that time was a lot of money. And I knew I wasn't that smart. So I couldn't figure out why I was so successful. To me, I didn't seem to be doing anything that was extraordinary. But if somebody asked me, I would say, well, I'm cleaning offices. But I found out that cleaning offices was almost incidental to what I was doing. I had been working on me solidly for 5 years, and I had been helping the people that I was working with to work on themselves. I was very involved in a program of personal growth, and everything started to change. Now, there's something in this book that really made a difference. You see, I made up my mind I was going to find out why I changed. I wasn't satisfied with the idea that I did change. I was going to find out. So what I'm going to explain from this point on is what I learned over the next 10 years. I studied this like an absolute scientist for 10 years. I spent a lot of money and I did a lot of work. So if you really want to change your life, I've done the work and I've spent the money. You don't have to do all that. I'm going to lay out what I learned over that period of time. And when I figured out exactly why I changed, all I wanted to do was teach it. And that's all I've done for a long, long time. This company has been going since 1961. That's 58 years. I have a phenomenal business partner, a lady who was an attorney, who was a securities attorney, something almost a polar opposite to where I come from. She had turned companies public. She would buy banks, sell banks, turn them public. Very, very brilliant woman. And when she joined us a little over 10 years ago, our company took a big jump because she brought an expertise in that I certainly didn't have. I know how to earn it. I didn't know how to work with it. Our company has worked all over the world. We have worked with some of the largest corporations in the world. We watched their sales go up by hundreds of millions of dollars. I couldn't even mention the number of individuals we've sat down and worked with. When I do a seminar in Los Angeles, or we do, because my partner, Sandy Gallagher, she does it with me, our team goes there, we will stream into over 115 countries. You see, the goal that I set a long time ago, we're now realizing we're living it. So what I'm going to show you is what I have learned over my lifetime. I have tested this every way you can think of. Some of the most brilliant people in the world have tested this. We don't wonder if it works. We know it works, and we've worked it all over the world. So I'm going to ask you, if you're a little skeptical, set the skepticism aside. Just set it aside. And when I'm all finished, if you want to still be skeptical, then do it then. I'm going to ask you to open your mind and sit back and really listen carefully. And don't listen just to hear. One of the most wonderful things I learned a year ago, or learned last year, I learned a lot of things last year, but this one thing stands out in my mind over everything else. It was a quote by Steve Covey, who's gone now, God bless him, but he was a wonderful teacher. He said, don't listen to hear, listen to understand. And that's what I want to recommend you do. Listen to understand what it is I'm going to explain. Because what I'm going to explain can change your life like night and day. And I don't even care where you're at now. I've gone into prisons with this. I've gone into schools. I've gone into some of the largest companies. We've shared this with millions of people all over the world. all over the world. Last time we went into a place, we went into Kosovo, we had 7 different languages that were being translated simultaneous as we were teaching this. So we've been all over the place. I don't care where you're from, I don't care what your background is. It's where you're at right now. If you want to improve where you're at right now, what I'm going to share with you is the answer. Now, here's one of the first things I learned as we opened this book. The author points out something very interesting. He said there's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one's ready for a thing until they believe that they can acquire it. Their state of mind must be belief and not mere hope or wish. Now, he said open-mindedness is essential to belief. Closed minds will not inspire faith, courage, or belief. So I'm going to ask you to open your mind and really think. If you're wishing you could get that car, or if you're wishing this could happen to your company, or you're wishing you could do this, forget it. It ain't going to happen. You see, if you want to be ready for the good that you desire, you got to believe that you can do it. Now, I have found there's only 2 sources of reference we can go to find out anything about ourselves. One science and the other is theology. There's only a half a dozen religions, so if you want to do the research, it's not too exhausting. And I've studied both sides now for my entire adult life, and I have found that regardless of the religion, or regardless of the psychology that you're involved in, they will all teach you one thing: you got to believe. You got to believe. That played in my mind for a long, long time. How do you believe? That's probably a question you're asking yourself. How do you believe? Well, you know, I had a wonderful mentor. I've had 7 phenomenal mentors. Leland Valvanderwall, he was a great big man. He and I became very good friends. All my mentors became good friends with me, and I with them. We were sitting in a restaurant one day, and just in idle conversation, he said, our belief system is based upon our evaluation of something. And frequently, if we reevaluate a situation, our belief about it will change. Now, this idea of belief had been plaguing my mind. So I said, what did you just say? I said, I'm not sure. It's about belief. Yeah. He said, our belief system is based upon our evaluation of something. And frequently, if we reevaluate a situation, our belief about it will change. I thought, that is really interesting. Now look, hope and wish doesn't cut it, but belief will. Belief will. If you listen real carefully to what I'm going to explain, and this is a very short presentation, and I got to keep my eye on the time, odds are pretty good you can start believing that you can do what you want to do. Now here's something beautiful. Remember, no more effort is required in order to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity, than is required to accept misery and poverty. I have found out it's much easier to win in a big way than it is to lose. Now think of this. There's 2 things that you must know if you're going to create time and money freedom, and I think that's something everybody wants. You've got to know where you are, you've got to know exactly where you're going, and you've got to get moving in that direction. Now, that's so simple and so obvious, you have to ask yourself, why are so many people stuck? Now, I've been in this business a long time, and I can tell you, without doing any research, most people are stuck. There's only 3 or 4 or 5% of the people that are really making it happen. The rest are struggling trying to make it happen. And some of them are absolutely brilliant people. You know brilliant people. They've got degrees coming out the end of their business card, and they're stuck. You see, most of us have been taught that you've got to have goals. Well, I think everybody has goals. Some of them maybe are a little more articulate than others. They may not have their goal in writing or something, but, you know, there's something they want. That would fall in the category of a goal. I don't think that's where the problem is. I think the problem's over here. It's where we are. That is really the problem. You see, we're being controlled by something called a paradigm. Now, you may be wondering, well, what the heck is a paradigm? Paradigm is a large problem for almost everyone. Companies have paradigms. It's called culture. Countries have paradigms. It's called culture. Every individual has a paradigm. It's an idea in our subconscious mind. We didn't even build it. Somebody else built it. Here's the best definition of paradigm you may ever find. Paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior, and almost all of our behavior is habitual. Now think about that. We wake up in the morning and we just motor into action. And somebody else wrote the program that's controlling our behavior. That's rather sad, but it's the way it is. I want you to look at the areas of your life paradigms have control over. This is very important. Paradigms control our perception, and our perception is our reality. It's how we see things. It controls our perception. Paradigms control our use of time. A lot of people buy time management programs, and they're trying to manage time. Time can't be managed. Nobody manages time, and yet everybody gets exactly the same amount of time. We get all there is. There's no one gets any more time than another. We get all there is. So it's what we do with our time. We merely manage activities. Our paradigm manages our creativity. You'll hear people say, well, I'm really not creative. Writers are creative, musicians. Everybody's creative. You're God's highest form of creation. There is nothing on the planet that'll even equal you. Our paradigms control our effectiveness, and our effectiveness controls our productivity. So do you see, this program that's inside us is controlling us. Our paradigms control our logic. There are certain things we say, well, you've got to be realistic. Is that right? Can you imagine the neighbors over in Dayton, Ohio, back around 1903? There's two young bicycle mechanics, and they said, we're going to fly. Nobody had ever flown. People had died trying. They're they weren't aeronautical engineers, and they introduced us to a new kingdom. Now, when they got us off the ground, somebody said, well, they were only up there for 14 seconds. Their attitude, their perception was different. They said, we not only got it up there, we kept it up for 14 seconds. Think. And our paradigm controls our ability to earn money. People that haven't got any will tell you money's not important. People that have it know how important it is. Money's vitally important in the area that it's used. It's the medium of exchange that's used by everyone all over the world in exchange for other people's products or services. I had a mentor, Earl Nightingale, and he said one time something that I thought was rich with truth. He says, most people think they want more money than they really do, and they settle for a whole lot less than they could earn. Now think. There seems to be a box around all these areas. And every time we go to step out and change our use of time or change our perception, we hit the wall. We hit the wall. When you make up your mind that you're going to change the paradigm, I am going to learn what it is and I'm going to change it. It's a program in my subconscious mind. I'm going to change it. The walls come down. The walls actually come down. Now, that doesn't mean you change anything, but you can now and you don't hit the wall. The change will be huge. And I'm going to tell you something else. The change is permanent when you learn how to change the paradigm. It's a beautiful concept. Now, look at this. Imagine if that was the only thing you changed. Your use of time. I remember talking to Earl Nightingale one time, and he said, Bob, there's no secret to this. I carry a sheet of paper in my pocket and a pen. I was having breakfast with him when he said this one morning. I'll never forget it. He said, I just simply sit down at night and I write down 6 goal-achieving activities I'm going to be involved in tomorrow, and then when I wake up, I do them. Because you can't manage time, you can manage activity. Now, as you learn to manage those activities, you're going to find that your income is going to skyrocket. As you alter your perception, your ability to earn money is going to skyrocket. Joel Barker wrote a book on paradigms around 1990. It was an incredible book. That's what it was called, Paradigm. He said, to be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. Now, you can be willing, but may not be able, because you don't understand how it was built. School does not teach this. I don't care what school you go to. I've worked with people that were Rhodes Scholars, people from Harvard, Stanford, Eton. They didn't understand it because they were never taught. Most psychiatrists, psychologists, or behavioral scientists that teach it, they teach it in such a way that it's only understood by other psychologists, psychiatrists, or behavioral scientists. I'm going to show you a way that I was taught. It was taught so that I could understand it. Remember I said I had no formal education? Well, I teach this today to psychiatrists. This has to be some of the best information you're ever going to find. Now, I want you to look at the mind and paradigms. But let's get more specific. I'm going to suggest you look at your mind and your paradigms. Now, how are you going to do that? Well, to do that, you have to understand something about the mind. In 1934, Dr. Truman Fleet was very involved in the holistic healing and the healing arts. And he said, you know, the mind's an activity, it's not a thing. In order to gain clarity and eliminate confusion, he said, I'm going to create a picture of the mind. Do you know nobody's ever seen the mind? Nobody's ever seen it. Most people think of the brain when they think of the mind, but the brain isn't the mind any more than your fingernail is. Mind is an activity. Brain is an electronic switching station. As you activate brain cells, it alters the vibration of a part of your body. For me to move my arm up and down like that, I have to activate a group of cells in my brain. Now, we have found if a person has a stroke, let's think of this. The brain is the greediest part of the body when it comes to blood. It wants all the blood. If the blood stops going to a particular part of the brain, bang, like that, a group of cells die. Instantly, they die. And the person may lose the use of this arm and leg. Well, we found if we take that and just open their hand, close their hand, move their arm up, move them down, open hand, and keep doing that. It's a form of patterning. We will educate healthy cells to do what the damaged cells can no longer do. Now, what I mentioned that just to get across to you, your brain is an electronic instrument. Your brain will not think, but you think with your brain. It's reported we have Albert Einstein's brain in a jar somewhere in Jersey, but it's not doing anybody any good because Albert's not with it. Your mind activates brain cells. Now, this good doctor said, nobody's ever seen the mind, so I'm going to draw a picture of the mind. Now, the first time I saw that, I laughed. I said, this is pretty simple. It looks like something out of a comic book. But the guy told me, he said, this is no comic book. This is probably one of the most powerful ideas you'll ever see. And he took and he drew a line right through the big circle. He said, let the big circle represent your mind and the little one represent your body. The top half of the circle we're going to say is our conscious mind. The bottom half we'll say is the subconscious, and the little circle represents the body. Now, without question, in all the years I've been studying, this is, without question, the most valuable idea I've ever learned. I want to suggest you burn this into your mind and take it serious. You sit down with any consultant, the consultant that invited you, and they can go through this. They'll show you programs that explain this. You can teach it to your children. And I guarantee when the kids start to learn, their grades go up in school. Your relationships become stronger. You start to understand why people are like they are and why they're doing what they're doing. Because you're starting to understand you. And you're the only thing you have to study. There's something phenomenal about you. It's so incredible that in all our study, the wisest among us do not really know all there is to know about ourselves. So let's take this little drawing and we'll run through some basics. There's the conscious mind, the subconscious, and the body. Now, the conscious mind is our thinking mind. That's the part of us that thinks. Thinking is the highest function we're capable of. I remember Earl Nightingale, who was a mentor of mine. He said one time, if most people said what they were thinking, they would be speechless. I laughed and I thought, but you know, as I started to think about it, I thought the guy's right. Listen to most conversations. It's obvious people aren't thinking or they never say what they're saying. Or stand back and watch the way people behave. It's going to become obvious they're not thinking or they never do many of the things they're doing. Now, the conscious mind can think. This is called our educated mind. This is where school is focused on you storing knowledge. And of course, this is where intellect is resident. Now, do you know most people go through their whole life and they never learn about their intellectual factors? And it's the intellectual factors that separate you from all the rest of the animal kingdom. Think of this for a moment. You and I are the only creature on the planet that is totally disoriented in our environment. All the other little creatures on the planet are completely at home in their environment. They blend in. We are totally disoriented because we have been given these higher faculties. It gives us the ability to create our own environment. So you see right at the front when I said you can create your own economy, or you really can, and you do. You are. Whether you're aware of it or not really makes little difference. Now, the subconscious mind is quite different. That's the emotional mind. That's the part of you where the paradigm is. Now, let's switch this over at the top. Because you can think, you have the ability to choose. Do you know you choose everything you do? You'll say there's things you have to do. No, there's really not. You say, we have to pay taxes. No. You could move to a tax-free zone or you could go to jail. It's a choice. Everything we do, we choose to do. Now, most people never, ever, ever become really, truly aware of that. but that's the way it is. You and I have the ability to accept or reject. When we see something in the paper or on the news, we can accept it or reject it. We do not have to accept. We have the ability to think. We can choose. We can say, I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to stay in control of me. And if you reject it, you have the ability to originate. You're a creative being. You're God's highest form of creation. Now, the emotional mind doesn't work this way. The emotional mind must accept everything you give to it. It has no ability to reject. Whatever is placed in the subjective mind, it must accept. The subconscious mind is immoral. It's like the earth. It doesn't care what you plant, but it'll grow whatever you plant. Earl Nightingale placed that idea very well in his Strangest Secret recording. He said, you can plant nightshade, a deadly poison, and not a 16th of an inch away, you can plant corn, a sweet food. One will grow with just as great an abundance as the other. The earth doesn't care what you plant, but it will return what you plant. That's the same with your subconscious mind. Now get this. This is a beautiful thing to really understand. Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what's real and what's imagined. You can imagine something terrible happening, you'll get upset. You can imagine something beautiful happening, and it will inspire you. Subconscious doesn't know the difference. And you've been given an imagination, one of the most magnificent tools you've got. Well, where does the paradigm come in, and what do we do? Well, let's take a look at that. Let's close the window on this for a moment, or let's look at how we operate today. Here we are today. I just use the information we've given you, and you're being inundated with information. In the conscious mind, I said you had an intellectual factor. One of them is reason. Reason gives you the ability to think. So we're getting hit with information where it's doom and gloom. We can say, get out of here and get rid of all that information, but we don't do that. What do? We leave our mind wide open, and it goes right into our subconscious mind. What do we say about the subconscious? It has no ability to reject. It'll accept whatever you give to it. Why? Well, that's part of the paradigm. That's part of the program. You stop thinking, your subconscious mind will accept whatever you give to it. Somebody can give you a negative idea and you'll start to get emotionally upset. And a negative idea could be a lie. It might not be true at all, but you accept it, so you'll get upset. Why? How did the paradigm get there? Well, let's take a look at that. We'll go over here. This is when you're an infant. This is how you arrive on the scene. When a baby arrives, the baby doesn't have a language. Baby has no conscious faculties. The baby's mind is wide open. It's like a cup. You can put anything in it you want. And we do. We dump all kinds of stuff in it. Do you know almost all welfare recipients are third, fourth, fifth generation welfare recipients? Now, this is a rather strange thing, but it's the way it is. That's why a baby speaks the language it does, why they like the food they like. And over, that is dumped into their mind. This is actually where the baby's self-image was formed in a very early life. And then that self-image carries them right through life. That's the image we hold of ourselves. And you can never outperform your self-image. Maxwell Maltz wrote a great book on it, Psycho-Cybernetics, back around 1960, was considered one of the greatest psychological discoveries of our generation. So here we are here with the paradigm. Self-image is one idea. Paradigm is a multitude of ideas that have been planted in the subconscious mind. Here we are 10, 20, 50, 70 years later, and we're still letting those same ideas control us. Look at this for a moment. We go to school. School gave us valuable knowledge. However, school never taught us anything about a paradigm. So we frequently do not do what we already know how to do. And if you think about this, here you got superior knowledge, inferior results, so it causes confusion and frustration. Let's put our model up here again. And what did school do? School loaded us up with books. We passed all the exams. We got the degree. But you know what's missing? The results. The results don't seem to jive with all the knowledge the person's got. So we know people who are absolutely brilliant. They've got all kinds of degrees, but they're not getting any results. They're broke. They don't even know how to find a job. Little do they know that they could start a company and create all kinds of jobs. Why don't the results? Because it's not the knowledge that produces the results. It's the paradigm that produces the result. The paradigm controls the behavior. The behavior produces the results. You see, if you want to change your results, we talked right in the beginning, our results should be under construction all the time. If you want to change your results, you must change the paradigm. And that's really what the Proctor Gallagher Institute is doing. We have all kinds of wonderful programs. Let the consultant sit down with you. Let him explain just how simple it is for you to multiply your income. Change things like night and day. You see, it's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you're not. Man, that's such a powerful statement. It's not who you are that's holding you back. It's who you think you're not. There's something so phenomenal about you. And when you learn it, everything starts to improve. However, when paradigms stay in control, nothing changes. You keep getting the same results year after year after year. Results always tell the truth. That's interesting. I don't care how smart you think you are, the results always tell what the paradigm is. We got to learn this. Buckminster Fuller put it very well. He said, you never change things by fighting existing reality. You change things by building a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And that's exactly what I did 58 years ago. Didn't understand that's what I was doing at the time. Then it took me a number of years before I figured out what I had done. I literally built a new model. If you would like to build a new model that guarantees the rest of your life be the way you want it to be, sit down with our consultant. Let them share with you. They're well trained. They've got phenomenal programs. They can explain this to you. They explain how it works. It's a fascinating subject. You build a new model. That's exactly what I had done. It took me 10 years, 9.5 exactly, and I'd been studying this with some of the most brilliant people alive, trying to figure out why did Bob change? Why did I go with no formal education to earn myself all this money? I had the good fortune of working with Eric Hoffer back in 1969 and 70. He said, in times of rapid change, the learners will inherit the earth. Well, the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with the world that no longer exists. Now, you know, there's no such thing as a learned person. You're either learning or you're not. It isn't something you fill up and put a cap on. And he said, the learners will inherit the earth. I took that to be metaphorical, that you would be happy, healthy, and wealthy. When you start to study you, that's what all of our programs do. That's what our consultant can help you do. Everything in your life is going to look different. Life should be and can be absolutely incredible. Now, he said, to learn, you need a certain degree of confidence. Not too much, not too little. If you have too little confidence, you'll think you can't learn. I lived so long like that. And then this man convinced me I could learn. Ray Stanford said, Bob, do exactly what I'm telling you, and you can have anything you want. I didn't believe that, but I believed he believed it. Let our consultant sit down with you. He said, if you have too little confidence, you think you can't learn. If you have too much, you think you don't have to learn. Look at your results. Are they what you really want? How about money? There's an absolute law governing compensation. Now, I'm going to go into this a bit and be the last subject we're really going to hit on. There's one more that I'll touch on. But this is important because this is not taught in school. The amount of money you earn is always in exact ratio to three things. Number one, the need for what you do. Number two, your ability to do it. And number three, the difficulty there'd be in replacing you. It's the need for what you do. There's a phenomenal need for what we do. Therefore, the people in our business can earn. The opportunity to earn a lot of money is here. However, that doesn't mean they're going to earn a lot of money. It's your ability to do it. You've got to get very good at this. You've got to get very good at whatever you do if you want to raise the stock. And the more you do that, the more difficult it'll be to replace you. See, when a person's very difficult to replace, the stock goes up. That's just the way it works. Now look at this for a moment. All you have to focus on is your ability to do it, and you'll get better at it. Become a master at whatever you do. Now, there's only three strategies for earning money, M1, M2, and M3. If you're going to teach your children how to earn money, and if you don't, odds are pretty good they're never going to learn. Most people do not know what I'm going to show you. The average individual does not know this. If you want to earn a lot of money, teach the kids that strategy. M3. M1 is the worst strategy in the world, and yet it's used by 96 people out of 100. This is where people trade their time for money. I don't care what you're getting an hour. There's a built-in problem. It's called saturation. You're going to run out of time. M1 is not a good strategy, and yet it's used by almost everyone. M2 is used by 3% of the population, and for very good reason. That's where you invest money to earn money, and there's only a very small group that have any money to invest. M3 is the program that I stumbled on way back in the early 60s. I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it. It's only used by 1% of the population. This is why I went from earning virtually nothing to over $1 million a year. It's used by 1%, yet they earn about 96% of all the money. I multiplied my time by setting up multiple sources of income. Do you know, if you study our programs, we can show you how to turn your annual income into a monthly income. You may say, well, that's impossible. Okay, if that's what you want to accept. But I can tell you, based on years and years of experience, and literally millions of examples, we can show you how to turn your annual income to a monthly, and I don't even care what you earn, because there's no end to what you can earn. Look at it this way. Wealthy people have historically always had multiple sources of income. You go right back to the ancient Babylonians. They all had multiple sources of income. Wealthy people have always had multiple sources. You know, our world is changing. You're aware of that, and I'm aware of that, changing daily. And it's not getting bigger. Our world's getting smaller. Our world is getting so small. We're only hours away from anywhere in the world. Now look, you can have business all over the world. We have one program that consultants can talk to you about. It's called Matrix. We actually sit down and show people how to set up multiple sources of income. You can have income from all over the world. You can actually earn more money when you're sleeping than you can spend when you're awake. Now that sounds like a good line, but it's also the truth. There's no end to what you can earn. I earn every night when I go to bed. I'm earning money while I'm sleeping because I have business all over the world. And if I have, you can. See, I am very good at teaching this because I'm such a good example of it. I have learned it. And I figured when I can learn it, anybody can learn it. I've gone into prisons, into schools, into some of the largest companies in the world. We'll show people how they can literally set up multiple sources of income. Now you say, well, are they all the same size? No. I look at this as the wheel of fortune. Now, some of your income sources will be big, some will be small. But I'm going to tell you something. They all have one thing in common, baby. They roll right into your bank. Now, you've got to admit, that's a nice idea. It doesn't matter where they come from in the world. Your bank will change it and put it in the currency of where you live. And you know the beautiful truth is, it just keeps adding up. We can actually show you how to do that. There's no trick to it. You know what you have to do? You have to make a decision. Now, in a very short period of time, I've shared an awful lot of information. It's what I learned over 10 and a half years. You know what most people never do? They never learn to make a decision. They just learn to make a decision. He spent a whole chapter on it. Let these lines represent levels of vibration. Your phone operates on a frequency. We call levels of vibration a frequency. We think on frequencies. We literally think on frequencies. Thought is energy. And you think on frequencies. Now, some people are on a much higher frequency than others. The results you're getting are nothing but the manifestation of your own thoughts. Do you know that's the one point all great leaders have agreed on? Go back and study them. Study any of them. In biblical times, right up to today. The great business leaders, every one of them, have been in complete unanimous agreement on this one point. They've disagreed in virtually everything else. You and I become what we think about. We become what we think about. What are you thinking about? What are you thinking about? Ask yourself that. We say, these are the results I'm getting, but that's the result I want. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that as soon as I get the money. I'm going to do that as soon as the kids are out of school. I'm going to do that, and it's always when this changes. And you know something? This is never going to change because you never built a new model. And so pretty soon, the decision fades. The decision fades, and so does the goal. Why? Well, if we understand our own world, it soon becomes pretty obvious. We're thinking way down here on this frequency. And what we're shooting at is way up there on a higher frequency. We're down here, it's like we're listening on an AM frequency and wonder why we're not getting FM music, higher frequency. If I phone your number, your phone's the only one that's going to ring. There's millions of phones because I'm on your frequency. I don't get my brother if I phone you. I only get my brother if I get on his frequency. And you see, if you want to get the goal, you got to start thinking. You get your mind and your thoughts focused on the same frequency as what you want. Now, this is how decisions should be made. You see? When you make a committed decision, this is going to be done. I'm going to do this. You don't ask yourself, do I have the money? Do I have the time? Do I have the help? You don't ask any of those questions. He points out in here that successful people make decisions very fast, change them very slow, if and when they change them at all. And for years I wondered, how do they make the decisions so fast? How do they gather so much information? They don't need to gather information. They made a committed decision. They begin to think and act like the person they want to become. They let go of the past. And when they think on that frequency, they will start to attract everything that is required, because that's where the good that you desire is. Now, this may sound a little futuristic if you've never studied into this. Nothing is created or destroyed. Everything's already here. The way to make one of these cell phones has always been here, but nobody got on that frequency. The way to do whatever you want is already here, but you've got to get on that frequency. Just see, want is the only prerequisite when you go to make a decision. If you really want to make things happen, sit down with the consultant and say, I definitely want to. Do exactly what the consultant suggests. You do what we suggest, I guarantee you'll win. We've been at this a long time. We've got a great reputation all over the world. Not just one city. Our office is in Phoenix. Our business is in 77 different countries. And when we stream, we go into 115 different countries. Want is the only prerequisite. It's the only prerequisite anyone has ever needed to do anything of any consequence. This is something very few people understand. If I want it and I see myself with it, I put myself on that frequency, and I'll start to attract whatever I need. See, that's why successful people make decisions so fast. They know what they want. And they know that they're God's highest form of creation, and they know they're going to get it. This information is so valuable. It's the most valuable information you'll ever get. What I've shown you here is just a peek. This is the Reader's Digest version. It's like peeking through a keyhole at it. The consultant that invited you on this call is very well equipped to sit down and explain to you in a little greater depth what I've just explained. But you know something? They can't make a decision for you. You got to make a decision. And the second you make the decision, you'll start to attract what you need. If it's money you need, you'll attract it. Just look around your home. You got all kinds of stuff in your home you don't need. You know why you got it? Because you wanted it. When you want this bad enough, you will find the money that you require to make it happen. I learned that a long time ago. For further information on the personal growth programs that will improve all aspects of your life, contact your local Proctor Gallagher consultant, because I'm going to tell you, they have some absolutely phenomenal information. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank all our consultants, and I certainly want to thank the consultant that invited you here, because I know you appreciate this, but probably not as much as you will as you get involved. I will be forever grateful to the man that first sat down with me and got me into this book. I carry elastic with me because the book's fallen apart, and I carry the book everywhere I go. But my life has changed so much since he first sat down with me. If you will listen to your consultant, I mean, listen to understand. I've just sort of scratched the surface here. We've got phenomenal information. I think we've got the best information you'll find anywhere in the world. Don't cheat yourself out of the life that you really want. Life is very short. And the older you get, the shorter it's going to be. It just works that way. You don't know how long you're going to be here. You may think you're going to be here for a long time. You may only be here for a short time. You may think you're only going to be here for a short time. You could be here for a long time. We don't know that. But we do know we're here now. Give it everything you've got. Sit down with the person that invited you and say, I want to get this as quick as I can, and I want you to show me how to really speed up. I want to move at warp speed. This information will change everything in your life. It'll make your business more successful. It'll make your life more successful. This is Bob Proctor, and I want to thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to meeting you in a seminar sometime in the very near future. Thank you. Okay.
How good is that video? I absolutely love it. I've seen it a fair few times now. And my two biggest takeaways from that is the fact that everything we do is a choice, including paying taxes. I love the way that he explains it as, well, you choose to pay your taxes, or you choose to go to jail, or choose to go to a tax-free zone. Still a choice. And the second one is the book, Psycho-Cybernetics. As Bob said, cannot recommend this highly enough. It is full of absolute genius on how your mind works. And the current copy also has space for you to write your own thoughts as well. So absolutely brilliant. If anyone has any comments or any things they want to point out or big takeaways from that, feel free to stick it in the chat. And as we're going through the next little section on the causes of failure, then we can bring those up. So in the interest of time, while people are typing in, if anyone has any comments or anything like that, feel free to share. Yeah, exactly that. So already in the comments, somebody's put, I found this amazing. His explanation of how our mind works. Yeah. Can we say more? If he's explaining that to psychologists and psychiatrists, it tells you one thing, doesn't it? That this stuff really is, even though it's so simple, actually it can be life-changing, and it's us that makes it more complicated. I'm guilty of that. When I first started hearing this stuff, I was just like, no, it can't be that simple. It's got to be more to it. And there's really not. And I probably spent about 6 months trying to find that thing, that more complicated bit. And every single time it just came back to the fact, no, it really is that simple. See my little dude? Just reminds me to focus on what I'm thinking. So this is the section where you will need your pen and your pencil, because I'm going to list the 30 causes of failure, have a quick overview of each one, and I want you to do a tally of how many apply to you. Okay, so yes, thank you in the chat. There is an awful lot of valuable information, and like he said, that is literally the tip of the iceberg. Massive tip of the iceberg. So pen and paper ready. First 15. So an unfavorable hereditary background. Obviously, when this book was written, that was more so than it is today. So you got to think it was written in the US. So slavery, people of Black or African origin were looked down upon. Yeah, it does still happen today, but nowhere near as much as in the early 1900s. So if you are someone of color or of a specific trait, that could be a cause of failure. Or we're not going to lend it to him because of X, Y, Z. Okay. Number 2, a lack of a well-defined purpose in life. If you don't have a goal, you're just drifting. You're just going to ping pong like a little pinball table off of whatever comes up next. Ooh, shiny object. You're not going to have any definite purpose. If you've got no purpose, you've got no map. I see a goal as the destination you put in a sat nav. So you think the sat nav only goes to the destination that you set, and your mind is exactly the same. And that's one of the key concepts explained in Psycho-Cybernetics. So for me, you put your destination in your sat nav and you press go. You don't know how you're going to get there. So if I'm going from Plymouth, where I live, up to Leeds in the north, I know I'm going to have to go northeast. And I could probably tell you that I'm probably going to do the A38, the M4, maybe the M5, the A34, or I might go all the way up the M5 to the M6 and the M62. I know roughly which way I'm going to go, but until I start traveling, no idea. Okay, so like a sat nav, your mind will then give you step-by-step instructions. At the end of the road, turn right. And it won't give you the next one until you hit that one, because there's no point. There's no point in giving you 6 or 7 instructions in advance. Okay, so you need a purpose, you need a goal. The challenge that I'm going to do at the beginning of next month, at the beginning of March, is going to be around goal setting. But if you can't wait that long, and I don't blame you because I couldn't wait that long, feel free to get in touch and we can get you a goal set. Okay, number 3, a lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity, settling for what you think you can have and what you think you deserve rather than what you want. Okay, number 4 is an insufficient education. Not all of us are school able, shall I put? Some kids just don't get on with the education system as it is. Okay, but education doesn't just mean going to school. It can be all of the extra bits, the college degree that you did, or the other hands-on apprenticeship or something like that. So it's just education about like the basics of life. Lack of self-discipline. I'm ticking that one off because my my ability to procrastinate, well, shall we say, it's getting a lot better than it was. I now have a lot of strategies that I use to avoid my procrastination. But it is literally a lack of self-discipline. If you cannot tell yourself, give yourself a control or a command even, and follow it, how are you going to get to your goal? Okay. Number 6 is ill health, which sometimes we can't help. Other times it can actually be from your mind. If you're told your whole life that you're ill, that's what you believe. So I don't know if any of you have seen the film Secret Garden, the original one, not the remake recently, because I haven't seen the remake. But it's the little boy that's in that is told that he's got a lump on his back and he can't walk and he needs to stay in bed and he needs to have these ice baths and everything else. And his cousin comes to say, and she's like, you don't have a lump on your back. This is all nonsense. Gets him out in the garden, builds his strength up. There's nothing wrong with him. But he was told for so long that he was ill, the same as his mother, that he believed he was ill and he became ill. So there are genuine ill health, but make sure that it is a genuine and not just what you're told. Okay. Number 7, unfavorable environmental influences during childhood. I can tick that one off as well. We're all brought up differently. Our parents do try the best that they can sometimes. But sometimes we're just, if we're brought up in the wrong area, we can have loads and loads of really unhelpful paradigms installed into us. Okay, lots of cultural ideas and that sort of thing. Just a comment in the chat, what copies of the Causes of Failure? Yes, they are on a blog post. So I will drop the link into the chat after. I will make a note now. So blog post 30 causes. Okay, I will drop that in shortly. Number 8, procrastination caused by the lack of self-discipline and lack of purpose. So if you don't have a definite purpose and you don't have the self-discipline, you are just gonna procrastinate. It just was what it is. Number 10 is a negative personality. You are the pessimist. You always see the bad. It's gonna cause you to fail because you're only ever gonna look for the bad. And there are ways to look for the good. That isn't the content of this workshop. It is something that I can speak to you about separately. Number 11, a lack of controlled sexual urge. It's an awkward one because we are human and sex is natural. It is required for the reproduction and continuation of our species. So it is hardwired into us to go after it. But as was explained, or as will be explained again, I think it's number, I want to say 10, 11 or 12 of the 13 principles. Being able to control that urge, that energy, that surging in your body and put it into something else can massively boost your success. Okay, but we'll go through, well, if you don't have Don't have any what? Comment, sorry. It's a comment in the chat that says, what if you don't have any? Can I repeat number 9? Yes, number 9 is a lack of persistence. I missed that one. A lack of persistence. So you just don't keep going. You give up. Oh, it's too hard. I don't want to follow the instructions. Follow the instructions. Go and persist. Keep trying. Okay, going back through number 10 we did, 11 we did, number 12, if you don't have any, then it's not being uncontrolled. That was in relation to number 11. So it was, what if you don't have any sexual urge? Then you don't have to control it. But we can go through that as the positive side of that when we go through the 13 principles of success. So number 12 is an uncontrolled desire for something for nothing. We want things for nothing. We want the easy life. We have all this instant gratification at the moment, and children especially, they just want everything on a plate. They want you to do everything for you. And if they don't get their own way, they throw a massive wobbler. It's wanting something for nothing. It doesn't work like that, especially as we're adults and we're going after our dreams and our goals. You need to actually put the effort in. Okay. What was that? That was a uncontrolled desire for something for nothing. Number 13, a lack of a world-defined power of decision. Okay, so I think I might have typed that wrong because that doesn't overly make sense. But it basically means a lack of decision. So you struggle with making decisions. Basically, you need to decide what you want and go for it. Not well, you decide, or no, this or that will be fine. I want this, but I'll be happy with that. No, make a decision and just get on. Number 14 is one or more of the 6 basic fears, and they are listed in Think and Grow Rich as the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love of someone, the fear of old age, and the fear of death. So they're the 6 biggest things that scare us. So fear of poverty, not being able to pay the bills, not having a roof over our head, not being able to pay for food. Okay, a fear of criticism. What will the neighbors think? What will my friend group think? What will my parents think if I do X, Y, Z? They're going to criticize me, so I'm not doing it. Fear of ill health. When we find a lump, for example, your instant thought is to go to, I'm going to get cancer, I'm going to be really ill, I'm going to need chemo, I'm going to end my life. Life is going to end early. It's an instant way that we're programmed. It's rubbish. Okay. It doesn't always happen like that. And so many people that find lumps or any other weird symptoms, sometimes it's just nothing to be worried about. But we instantly go to, oh my God, we're going to be ill. And what if I get ill? I won't be able to work. I won't be able to pay the bills. So it's a massive fear. Next one was a loss of love of someone. So losing someone that you love, or somebody that you love not loving you back. That's a massive fear. Fear of old age. We all fear getting old. Can we do anything to stop it though? Not really. We're going to get old. Well, there is one way, but we're not going to go into that. Okay, we are going to get old. And then the fear of death. Death is something that is really, it's complicated, isn't it? Because you get so many different religious views, heaven and hell, Valhalla, all the other religious views on death and what happens after death, that it can be quite scary because it's unknown. Nobody's been there and come back to tell the story. And even the people that do go and come back and tell the story, it's always different. Some people, there's nothing. Some people, there's a light. Some people, they see their whole life flash before their eyes. There are so many different versions. We don't know what's going to happen when we die. And that's scary. So that's a fear. So they're the 6 basic fears. Number 15, the wrong selection of a mate in marriage. Especially when this book was published and it was kind of decided for you who you were going to marry. And it was for the good of the family and all that good stuff. Okay, not so much now, but obviously we are still able to wrongly choose our life partner. And that's, I suppose, why the divorce rates can be quite high in some countries. And obviously we still do have forced marriages going on around the world. Over onto the next lot. Number 16, overcaution, not taking a risk. To risk is to put everything you have on the line to get the next level. To be able to get to the next level, we have to let go of what we have now. Okay, we have to be okay with losing what we have now to gain what we want. So if you don't take a risk every now and then, you're just going to stay where you are. Okay, number 17 is wrong selection of associates in business. So choosing the wrong business partners, or choosing the wrong staff member, anything like that, that just don't complement you or your business. Number 18 is superstition and prejudice. How many of you have got superstitions like one for sorrow, two for joy for magpies, black cat walking across the road, breaking a mirror? There's so many superstitions that we're brought up on. Are they true? Are they disbelief? Who knows? But if you're a super superstitious person, they can make a massive issue. Okay, it could be that you just consider yourself to have really bad luck. Okay, and the same with prejudice. You might be prejudiced against a group of people or a certain situation that you just won't go into, and actually that's the next bit that you need to do. Or people might be prejudiced against you. Number 19, the wrong selection of a vocation. A vocation is a job or a career. So going into a job or a career to pay the bills that you don't enjoy, that is just a drag every single day that you have to go. It's the wrong choice. You choose what job you get. If you don't like it, move on. There's always another job. Number 20 is a lack of concentration of effort. Can't be bothered syndrome. Well, I could do that, but I'm just going to sit in my chair and do nothing. It's going to be a cause of failure, isn't it? Number 21, the habit of indiscriminate spending. Yes, all of this information is basically, if you want it, go and get it. But equally, if the money's not in the bank, it's quite hard to go and get it. So it's about being a bit more savvy, about being having a bit of a budget. So if there is something that you really want, but the money's not there, having it in your mind, but not having it physically up until the point where you can get it is a good solution. Number 22, a lack of enthusiasm. Enthusiasm comes from motivation. Motivation comes from having something that you really want, that you are working towards. So that goal that you are striving towards is your motivation, which creates your enthusiasm. How many of you have got jobs that you just don't want to go to in the morning? There's no enthusiasm to go because you just don't want to. You don't like it, so why should I bother? My enthusiasm towards washing up, there isn't any. I hate washing up, but I am managing to flip it around, learning through all this information. If I don't wash up, my water bottle is going to be really skanky. And as I go through 2 or 3 water bottles a day, as in drinking them, I don't overly like the taste of skanky water bottles. Also, if I we use plastic tubs instead of cling film or tin foil or whatever for our sandwiches and things for lunch. The plastic tubs, if they go in the dishwasher, they come out with a funny taste, in my opinion. So we use a lot of Tupperware for storing excess food, because like I'll cook a curry every now and then, and there's always more than what the 3 of us will eat, because it's just as expensive to cook for 5 as it is to cook for 3. So we'll have extra portions. If those Tupperware pots go through the dishwasher, and then I put the leftover food in them and freeze it and warm it up in those Tupperware pots the next week or the next month, whenever we eat them, I find it tastes funny and I don't like it. So my motivation, my enthusiasm to do the washing up is because I don't like the taste of plastic that's been through the dishwasher. It works. I get the washing up done. Hey. Number 23, intolerance. So not having any tolerance for things that you don't believe in. It's your way or the highway. You don't like a particular type of people. You don't tolerate somebody else's opinion. Okay, can cause quite a few issues, can put a big blocker on your success. Same with intemperance. Okay, intemperance is always the one that I forget what it means, and that's what's just gone out of my mind right now as well, which is really good fun. So give me 2 seconds and we will find out what intemperance is. And I'm pretty sure I do have the page saved, because it always bugs me when I can't actually remember what it is. Not that one. Symptoms of fear. Where's it gone? Where's it gone? No, that's mind stimuli. Oh, is that it? Nope. Definition of purpose, willpower. Love this book. Absolutely love this book. Lack of persistence. Intemperance. Where's it gone? 30 major causes of failure. There they are. Intemperance is... The most damaging forms of intemperance are connected with eating, strong drink, and sexual activities. So intemperance is overindulgence. If you are trying to lose weight, but eating too much chocolate, oops, I'll go and exercise tomorrow. You're it's intemperance, isn't it? It's overindulgence of food, of drink, of things like that. So especially when you're trying to go for something big, getting drunk all of the time and destroying your health, giving yourself that really skanky hangover, not the best way to get to your goals, is it? But we as people, we need our little things. So some people drink, some people overeat, some people eat sugar, some people are addicted to coffee, some people indulge in too much sex. It is what it is. Okay, number 25 is an inability to cooperate with others. I am quite guilty of this. Sometimes I can work with others, but I much prefer to do it myself. And I am getting better at it. I am, slowly. But it can cause massive issues, because you cannot run your entire business or your life without cooperating with others. Even if it's as simple as the guy that's coming to fix the plumbing or decorate the house. If you treat them badly and you can't cooperate with them, they're not going to do the best job, are they? Okay, number 26, a possession of power that was not acquired through self-effort. This refers to the people who are born with a silver spoon in their mouths, who get all the hand-me-downs, born into rich families and things like that. It can actually be a cause of failure because you don't know how to gain that success yourself. So if the tap is ever turned off, the parents die, or you're written out of the will, or something happens in the family business where it no longer functions, you've got no idea of how to get it done again. 27 is intentional dishonesty, not little white lies, but when you are intentionally dishonest and you know you're being dishonest, but you're just trying to cut a corner or blame someone else or not take responsibility for your own actions. Massive cause of failure. 28, egotism and vanity. We are all supposed to see ourselves as the center of the universe, but equally, we're not supposed to consider ourselves as 100% better than every other person on the planet. There are people out there who are better than you at doing certain things. There's no one better than you at being you. You are you. But to hold yourself on a pedestal above other people is not going to be great for relationships with others, is it? Okay, 29 is guessing instead of thinking. If you don't know, go and ask. I forgot what intemperance was. I asked the book. I didn't ask. You know what I mean? Don't just guess. Go and find out. Find the information that you need. Don't just guess. And number 30 is a lack of capital. Now, yes, it is possible to start a business nowadays without any income, without any money or very little money. But to be able to live in life, to be able to put a roof over your head, to feed yourself, to buy things, buy clothes, you need capital, you need money, unless you live on an island and you're completely self-sufficient. But then you still need to trade with other people, so there's still capital involved. Okay, so they are the 30 causes of failure. If you are feeling brave, can you please count up your tally, and out of those 30, how many of them apply to you? Now, for me, you don't have to tell me which ones they are specifically, but how many of them apply to you Out of the 30, how many did you tick off? For me, it's 12. So nearly half of them apply to me in various forms and guises and everything else. We've got a 6. That's good. Anyone else want to be sharing? So a 6, a 12. Somebody could have all 30. Somebody could have 1. Does that mean that the person who's put 6 in the chat is more likely to succeed than I am with my 12? 2 people with 6, great, and another person with 10. So are the 2 of us with higher numbers, so 10 and 12, are we more likely to fail than the 2 people with 6? Are they more likely to succeed than we are? No, we're not. Great answers. Absolutely makes no difference. The only time it makes a difference is if you go, well, I can't because. I can't do that because I'm overcautious, because I have no enthusiasm. Oh, I can't be bothered. I'm not persistent. Keep telling yourself that. You won't ever be persistent. I can't do that because I was born in the wrong neighborhood, because my parents didn't love me as a child, because I'm in a job that I really, really hate, but I can't go and get another one. There's no such word as can't. The only limitation that you have on your life is you. You are the only limitation in your life, full stop. And I know that's going to sound a bit like, oh, hang on a minute, but so-and-so did that to me the other day. Yes, so-and-so did that to you the other day. Yes, you are in a job that you don't like. Yes, you don't have any persistence. But you can change all that. And if you can't change your physical surroundings, you change how you see it and you look for the good. Okay, so 34 causes of failure. Yes, they are the reasons why people say they fail. They're not really relevant. So let's move on. So the 13 principles of success. Number 1 is desire. You have to have a burning desire. You have to turn that thing that you want into the absolutest, most fire burning thing in your life. If you want it, it's worth giving up your life now for it. If you don't want to give up your life that you have now to get what you want, what's the point in being alive? What's the point in going for it? Because you've obviously already got a life that you like. But if you want to change it, then you have to give up what you've got now. And you might end up having to risk everything to get the life that you want. But just think, if you succeed, so worth it. Okay? Number 2, faith. Does not mean religious faith. It can, if that is what you so choose. Faith is just belief. It's a belief and a trust in yourself, your ability, and the world in general. So religion has their gods, has their ways of life, has their ways of being and everything else. For me, I'm agnostic. So I believe that there is something there, but I don't relate to a specific religion. So I believe in the Gaia concept. So the best way to explain that is the film Final Fantasy Secrets Within. Brain just went and it's explained where Gaia is the life force of the planet that they live on. And to me, that really resonates, because you've got to think, it's a circle of life, like Lion King. We're born from the energy of the earth. We live, we consume the energy, we get rid of our waste, which goes back into the earth, all in a big cycle. And when we die, our physical carbon body goes back to the earth. Whether you're cremated or buried, you end up back as part of the earth. Creatures eat you or whatever. Okay? But faith is your belief in yourself, and that you believe that you can do the things that you want to do. Because if you don't believe it, how are you ever going to do it? If you can see it in your mind, you can create it in the world, but you have to believe that you can. Okay. 3rd one, auto-suggestion. And I put this picture of this woman in here because she's looking in a mirror. And that's the best way to do auto-suggestion. You go to the mirror, you look yourself dead in the eye, and you tell yourself all the things that you are. They might be all the things that you want to be, but as far as you're concerned, you tell them to yourself as if you are them already. I am strong. I am a brilliant salesperson. I am confident. I am going to get that promotion. I can make the changes and see the world in a different way. I'm going to see the good, or I do see the good in the world. So it's all the things that you want in your life. You tell yourself you've already got them. And when you're looking at yourself directly in the eye and you're telling yourself that, you're talking straight to your subconscious. The more you say it, the more truth it becomes. So for me, I have 2 scripts that I read to myself every single morning, which are my bulletproof attitude. It starts with, I am consistent, persistent, focused, productive, capable, and unafraid to get on with what I need to do, regardless of where I am, who I'm with, and what distractions there are. And it goes on. And then I also have my future life script. So which starts with, I am a strong, capable, persistent, confident, brave, and focused individual. I have the time, freedom to make my own clothes, exercise daily, and spend uninterrupted, focused time every day to study and work on my self-image. And it goes on. And there are 2 things that I read to myself every day. That is my auto-suggestion. And throughout the day, wash my hands. When I'm ever out somewhere, I look myself in the eye and I go, I am whatever it is I want to be that day. I am focused. I am balanced. All of that. Auto-suggestion is amazing. Really, really good. Try it. If you want any more tips on that, drop me a message after this and I'm more than happy to explain it further. Number 4 is specialized knowledge. We cannot be a jack of all trades. It's impossible. You can't do it. Full stop. Doesn't work. You cannot be an accountant and a doctor and a physiotherapist and a content creator and a social media manager and the HR manager. You can't do it. Pick the area that most interests you, become an expert in it. Do what you want to do and do it well and keep learning about it. For everything else, get someone else to help you. They are specialists in their field for a reason. You wouldn't go to a dentist for a problem with your foot. Okay? It's the same with all the other types of knowledge as well. Number 5 is imagination. Imagination is the key to everything. And it is so annoying that as children, we can imagine all day long up until the age that we go to school. And as soon as we go to school, we get past the first couple of years. And then if you're caught daydreaming in another world using your imagination, you get told off. So what do? We stop imagining and we tell ourselves that we have no imagination, that we can't imagine things, that we can't be creative because we're told that we shouldn't. It's rubbish. Imagination is the key and the starting point of every single thing that you want, because you build the image in your mind of the person that you want to be, and you build it as if you are already them. So when you're doing your auto suggestion and you're reading your power life script and your attitude statement, you are believing and seeing yourself as already that person. That happens in your imagination. The more you focus on it, imagination, the more it's going to filter down into your subconscious and it's going to believe it and follow through. Number 6, organized planning, my get done list. I have posted about this recently and it is part of my planituding approach. So planning, intention and gratitude. It's basically, instead of a to-do list, it's a get done list. More information on that can be found across all of my platforms. I will drop a link to that as part of the email that goes out of this. Just write myself a note so I remember. Okay, because I'm looking at the time and I don't want to go over today. So get dones instead of to-dos basically means that you write your get done, you move it to doing when you're doing it, and then you move it to got done. And your got done list is your own personal little cheerleader. It's awesome. And it's so motivational as well. But number 7, decision. Stay committed to your decisions, stay flexible in your approach. So when you decide on your goal, the goal doesn't change. The route to it might change. You might go through that door instead of that door, but the decision is still, I'm going there. If you make the wrong decision, oh well, the decision that you made at the time was based on the information that you had. You don't have all the information at any one time. So if you get new information, you don't go back on an old decision, you just make a new one to replace it. Okay, you never go backwards. Always just make a new decision with the new information. Number 8, persistence. Just keep going, even when it gets hard. And the key to persistence I've found is not to just keep keep going, keep going, No, sometimes take a step back. Take a breath and go at it again from another angle. Don't just keep grinding away and grinding away. You're going to burn out. It can help with persistence to take a step back, take a look around at the big picture, and then try again. But just keep going. You only fail when you give up. Okay? Power of the mastermind is number 9. A mastermind is a group of people all working together on the same problem. It can be a different problem each week, but you're basically in one big group working on a problem together. You are expanding the power of your mind. And when you're working with other people in that way, new ideas can flow. And there's a really cool approach that you can use with this called the 3-3-3 approach. Again, not a subject for this today, but if you do want to know more about it, I will put the information into the email that will go out as part of this to the people who registered. People watching this on the recording, I will try and put the links in the description below this video, whether you're on YouTube or in the Facebook group. Okay. Number 10, the mystery of sex transmutation. It is basically the art of converting that physical urge into a mental force for good. So you'll see on the blog post that I put out, and again, I'll put all of the 4 blog posts in the description, as well as I did for the call, the challenge call that I did on Thursday or Friday. It's about not just going after your physical urges, but using that energy in another way. When we are stimulated, that is when we are at our most powerful. And there are 10 stimuli that Napoleon Hill lists in the book, in the Think and Grow Rich book. And sex is at the top because it's a natural, physical, human and other animal urge. Every other animal on the planet has a season. That is the only time they focus on sex. We, as humans, we declared open season. We do it whenever the hell we feel like it. But if you can control the urge, and if you have a very powerful partner who understands this concept as well, you can use that energy and that stimulus for good. Okay, more information in that on the blog, and I will stick the link to that in the comments and description below. Okay, number 11, subconscious mind. Wonderful little stick person. That was covered quite a lot in the video, so I won't go into it too much, but your subconscious mind is in control of 95% of all of your behavior. But it is also influenced by your thinking. So if you can think differently, you are going to get kickback from your subconscious and your paradigm, but just keep thinking the same thing. I am confident. And your paradigm sat there going, don't be stupid. You wouldn't say boo to a goose. No, I am confident. Don't be daft. If you stand up in front of all those people and sit on that live webinar in front of however many people and the potential for millions to see it around the world, you're going to bottle and not know what to say. That was me 7-8 months ago. I wouldn't have dreamed of being able to sit here and do this, especially not knowing that there are actually people here with me. But I kept telling myself that I am confident, I can public speak, I can get my words out in the right order. And here I am today. It works, really works. Number 12 is the brain. The brain is basically just your electrical switching station. It doesn't think, it just does as it's told. And it's controlled by your mind. So whatever you're thinking, the mind thinks, tells your brain, the electrical signals go from your brain to the rest of your body. So I think to lift my arm. I send the signal to my brain tells my arm to lift. That's all the brain is. The brain is not in control of anything else. It's just an electrical switching station. And all the little neurons and everything else in it can be repaired. So if you suffer from a stroke or know someone that does or has, there is actually new ideas and new healing out there now where when you have a stroke, you lose the left side of your body is one of the most common symptom of having a stroke. They've now learned that just by physio every day, opening and closing that person's hand or bending their arm, new pathways can be built in the brain to repair that so that that person can get that movement back. It's brilliant what science can do nowadays. And number 13 is your sixth sense, your intuition. The intuition is your connection to the infinite, whether it be God, Gaia, the universal spirit, other people's minds. Okay, it's the intuition and your sixth sense that connects you to all of those. And again, more information on all 13 of these have gone out as part of the blog post, and I will put all of those details into the email and the description and in the comments below this after I have finished the call. So how does all this apply to you? You've probably worked it out by now, but it is basically a shift in the way that you think and the way that you perceive the world. And how you think and how you perceive the world can massively impact the rate of success that you get. So if you are focused on, well, I'm not going to be successful because I'm from this background. I can't be successful because I'm in a job that I hate, but I need to stay in this job because. Okay. And I will resist to finish that sentence. But now I've said it, I have to. Because The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. I love that film. So sorry, I'm so random. Anyway, you can tell yourself all those lies. I can't do it because. I can't do it because so-and-so says I can't, because I don't have the money, because I don't have the background, I don't have the skills. Or you can tell yourself, well, I've not been able to do it till now, but today is the first day of the rest of my life. It's one of my favorites as well. I've just had my favorite movie. If you don't know what it is, it's The Wizard of Oz. I like the original version with Dorothy and Toto and the lion and the really old, brilliant, with all the crappy little CGI and the monkeys flying around on ropes, and it's brilliant, but it's distracting. So yeah, what was I saying? Exactly, the original is the best. So to be able to unlock your full potential, only you can do it. There's no point blaming anyone else. There is absolutely no one else in the world that can control your success or could even predict your success. The only person and the only thing that limits your success is you. Same as I'm the only thing that limits mine. And when you start to become aware of it, it is quite frustrating at first, because I found, as I was going through this information and through the program that I will mention at the end of this call, the program that Bob was mentioning on the call as well, when I started going through that, I started getting really upset and really frustrated, because at the end of every day, when I sat and did my gratitude and I sat and looked at what I'd done that day, I'd go, but I procrastinated for an hour and I could have done so much more, but I didn't because I allowed that person to do this, and I allowed that incident to do this, and I allowed this situation to really wind me up. You're learning, just like a child learns to walk. If a child gave up while walking because it was too hard, we wouldn't walk. We'd be crawling around for the rest of our lives, or bottom shuffling, whatever it is that they do. A child keeps persisting because they don't know any different. And you don't, because you've been told, or you believe that, okay, I've failed twice now, people are going to start laughing. If you're trying to make a big change and you're worried about criticism, don't tell anyone. Keep the day job. It pays the bills. But instead of spending your spare time doing what you want to be doing, as in watching TV or doing whatever, so I applaud you all who are here today for giving up these 2 hours of your time to come and grow your mind, rather than just sit and watch Netflix or sit and go on your phone or play a game or create something or whatever. That's a choice. There's a lovely quote that I like. Use your 9 to 5 to fund the 5 to 9 until the 5 to 9 replaces your 9 to 5. So it's saying use your day job to fund your side hustle or the thing that you want to be doing instead, up until the point when that can replace all of it and give you the time and financial freedom. It is all about perception. And I love this graphic, and I use it a lot, especially with children in schools when I'm working in schools, because I can write a 6 on a table, and from my point of view, it will look like a 6. But if I tell someone on the other side to tell me what the number is, they'll say a 9. We're both right, but we both think the other person is wrong because we cannot see it from their point of view. And you can never see somebody else's point of view on something because you haven't lived their life and they can't see yours. So it's about trying to find the different perspectives, different point of views. Well, why does he think like that? What's making that person see that in a different way? What happens if I look at this from another point of view? I can go round to the other side of the table and see the 9 that they see. They can come round to my side and see the 6 that I see. It's all about perception, and you choose your perception. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so thank you for joining me for all of that. We do have a little bit of time. I've got a couple more slides that I want to share with you. But if you do have any questions at this point, please stick them in the chat. Okay, we can go through a couple. If you don't have any right now, or if you're feeling quite, oh my God, I'm going to need to watch this again, absolutely fine. Okay, just giving the opportunity. If you've got a burning question right now, feel free to drop it in the chat and we'll get it answered for you. Nothing coming through at the moment. Nothing coming through on Zoom, which is absolutely fine. Awesome. That means I've either explained it amazingly or confused you the heck. Okay. Following this, obviously, if any questions do come up, or if you want any help on any of the concepts or anything like that, please just get in touch. I'll more than happily jump on a one-to-one call with you. No sales involved at all. Okay. You will receive a copy of this that will be available for you to watch. So yeah, if you do want to ask questions in private, absolutely fine. There's a comment that's come through that says maybe both. So rewatching and talking to me at a later date. It's got to be done. It's absolutely fine. Whatever works for you. Okay. So we went through the welcome. Why are you here? Who am I? We watched that awesome video from Bob. We've discussed the 30 causes of failure and why technically they're irrelevant, but they are the reason why so many people fail, because we focus on them. Oh, I can't do this because, okay. We've got the 13 principles of success, the characteristics and things that we can all work on to boost our chances. Okay. We've gone through how this applies to you. We've done a Q&A, and now it's time for a special offer. So as part of the Proctor Gallagher Consultants division, which is what I am a part of, working in line with was Bob, but now with Sandy and the rest of the team. I am able to offer you the course Thinking into Results, and that is a 6-month coaching course. Okay, and I'll go through that in a second. But at the moment, PGI, Proctor Gallagher Institute, have an offer where when you get Thinking into Results, you can also get Magic in Your Mind for free, which is another add-on course, which is a 6-week course that literally daydreams your way into success, as it says on the creative there. It's a course where it goes through all the higher faculties. So your imagination, your reasoning, your willpower, your intuition, your memory. Okay. So Thinking into Results is a 6-month coaching course. There is a weekly call, either as a group or individually, depending on where you are in the program. So each you get 12 lessons. I'm explaining this very well. I'll start again. It's a 6-month coaching course, and there are 12 lessons. So it's done over 6 months, and you do 1 lesson every 2 weeks. Okay. During week 1 of each lesson, there is a 60-minute coaching session. That is, everyone jumps on a call together and we go through the lesson, we pick it apart, we have a look at the worksheets, we answer any questions, and we go through it as if we're studying together. In week 2 of each of the lessons, it's an open Q&A. So you bring your questions to the session and we mastermind as a group, depending on how many people are there, to answer questions and discuss our findings, our takeaways, and we learn from each other. Okay. It also comes with a 195-page workbook, which looks like this. Okay, it's absolutely full to the brim of information, activities, spaces to write, because the big thing with PGI and this course especially, we can attend all the training we want to attend, but it doesn't do anything for us unless we actually apply it. So we have to apply it. Okay, and that's what the workbook does. You also get an accountability partner. You get me, which is awesome or rubbish. It's entirely up to you. I won't be offended. But you also get the people that are on the course with you as well. And the way that I run my courses is that I run it through in a 6-month cycle. If somebody joins in month 3 and they're on lesson 1, they join the calls at the point when they join. So they might be on lesson 1, but they'll be going and joining the calls for lesson 6. Okay, so it's a rolling cycle, and people have the choice to either join in the middle or to wait until the next cycle starts, or there is always the option to jump on individual one-to-one calls with me. So you will have access to me. Obviously, I do have limits on my time. I very rarely work past 9 o'clock in the evening. I usually have Saturdays off, work on Sunday. Okay, and obviously time zones and everything else. So I will get back to you as soon as I can. You will have my mobile number. You'll have more of my contact details, my email, my social media, and all of that good stuff. Okay, Thinking into Results is based on over 100 years of research that comes from the Think and Grow Rich book, plus so much more. Plus also Bob's 50 years of research, and all of his findings are programmed into this program. You get goal setting exercises, so it gives you your target that you need to go for. And it's full of tricks to change your mindset and your habits, and so much more. To discuss that more, jump on a one-to-one call with me. I do calls where the first call is a discovery call. We discuss who you are, where you want to be, and give you some ideas on how to get started. There is no pushy sales. This is your life. It's your choice. Okay, the second call, we then introduce how this program can help you if you choose to take a second call, or the second call can literally be an extension of the first. It's entirely up to you. It's an individual process, and I work individually. Okay, the bonus at the moment is to get magic in your mind as well. It's a supplementary 6 weeks program, so you get it at the end of Thinking into Results. You get 6 audio lessons, so 1 per week. You also get daily videos and daily exercises from Sandy Gallagher herself, who puts the videos together, and it covers the ways to develop your higher faculties. So as I said, your imagination, your intuition, your will, your memory, your perception, and your reasoning factors. And the whole content across the 6 weeks is taught by Bob Proctor, so obviously recorded, Sandy Gallagher, and Mary Morrissey. This course retails at $497. It can get for free at the moment until the end of March when you get Thinking into Results. Obviously, you can buy this on its own. It's entirely up to you. But that is the offer that PGI is offering at the moment. So we are at the the 2 hour thing. Check that out. I managed to get bang on 2 hours. That's my little win for today, because I am so grateful for your time and I do not want to waste it. Okay, if you are watching this in the Facebook group, obviously we're connected on Facebook. My website, my Instagram, my Facebook, my email, my LinkedIn, and my YouTube channel are all shown on the screen at the moment. You'll see the recurring theme. It's Rethink Your Perspective. Most of them are just all one word. Instagram, it's got a little space in it as well, the underline. And at the bottom there, you'll see my Calendly link. All of these will be in the email that you'll receive if you're registered on Zoom. And I will stick them into the comments on the Zoom call, this is the Zoom call, the YouTube recording, which will go out probably tomorrow, because it's going to take a good couple of hours to upload. So I'll let it upload overnight and it will go live tomorrow morning, my time. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for joining me. I'm loving all the love that's coming through the chat. Thank you. As I said, I will put all of these details, just adding myself a little note. So contact details and Calendly will all go into the description or the comments below. I will get the comment done this evening before I go to bed. And that's it for tonight. I am so grateful for you joining me. So grateful for those of you that have been here the full 2 hours. And so grateful for any of you watching on the replay as well. It is well known that most of workshops, webinars, challenges, and all the rest of it, very rarely get watched live. Most of the watches become through the replays, and that's because we're all so busy. I'm the same. Most of the things I watch while moving around, okay, from driving or sitting down of an evening. And it's to do with time zones as well. I'm a Brit, so yes, I'm GMT 0 or GMT 0. Yeah, Greenwich Mean Time. So I'm 0 hours. There are people on here -5 behind me, so it's daytime, like afternoon. And there are some people on here that are watching from Australia, where it's early morning at the moment. It's amazing that we live in a world that is so connected. As Bob said, the world isn't big, the world is getting smaller because we're all so interconnected now. So I want to thank you for your time. I'm very grateful for it. And like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Time zones dependent. I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you again. And I hope you have an awesome rest of your day. Thank you, guys. Cheers. Bye.